Amara Johnson's journey began long before the bright lights of the prestigious festival stage, rooted deeply in a childhood filled with melodies that echoed through her home, nurturing a dream that transcended her blindness and societal expectations. Born completely blind, Amara's world was shaped not by sight but by sound, touch, and an unyielding passion for music that blossomed early when she first touched the worn keys of her grandmother's old piano, feeling the vibrations beneath her fingers, and discovering a language that spoke directly to her soul. From a young age, she displayed an extraordinary gift, an uncanny ability to memorize complex compositions and interpret them with emotional depth that belied her years and circumstances. Her parents, recognizing her rare talent, sacrificed much to ensure she received the best possible musical education, enrolling her in specialized schools and seeking out mentors who could guide her unique path. Yet despite her undeniable talent and dedication, Amara found the classical music world to be a harsh landscape, littered with skepticism and bias, where her blindness was often seen as a barrier rather than a different way of experiencing music. Doors to conservatories and competitions remained closed or only ajar, with whispers behind her back questioning whether a blind woman, especially a black woman, could truly excel in a field dominated by sighted performers with traditional pedigrees. But Amara refused to let doubt define her. Her practice sessions, long and grueling, were fueled by a fierce determination to transcend limitations, both imposed and internal, each note a defiant assertion of her place in the world of music. When the invitation to perform at the internationally renowned Harmony Music Festival arrived, it felt like a beacon of hope, an opportunity to finally claim her rightful place among the greats. Yet the festival's hallowed halls were not immune to the prejudices that plagued the broader world. It was here that Amara encountered Victor Lang, a renowned pianist whose reputation was matched only by his arrogance and ruthless competitiveness. Victor was the kind of artist who wielded his fame like a weapon, his sharp tongue and dismissive smirks leaving no room for perceived weakness. The moment he saw Amara, he dismissed her with a cruel sneer, openly mocking her blindness during rehearsals, his biting words slicing through the camaraderie of the musicians and casting a shadow over the rehearsals. He questioned her ability to perform with the same technical mastery and emotional nuance expected at such a level, belittling her in front of peers and staff alike. Amara, though deeply wounded by his cruelty, held her composure, refusing to let his venom dictate her spirit. She listened silently, the sting of his insults burning, but beneath the surface, a fire ignited, a resolve to show Victor and the world that her talent was not diminished by her blindness, but instead enriched by a perspective others could not understand. The rehearsals became a battleground of wills, where Victor's cynicism met Amara's quiet strength, and though the tension was palpable, it only sharpened her focus. Every practice was a testament to her resilience, every mastered passage a silent rebuttal to the doubts cast upon her. As the days to the festival drew near, Amara's confidence grew, built not on arrogance but on a deep, unshakable belief in her artistry and the power of music to transcend physical limitations and societal prejudice. The chapter closes with Amara standing alone at the grand piano in the empty concert hall late one night, hands poised above the keys, not just preparing for a performance, but readying herself to rewrite the narrative of what it meant to be a blind black woman in classical music, determined to let her music speak louder than any insult ever could. Amara threw herself into preparation with an intensity that consumed every waking moment, immersing herself in the music as if it were the very air she breathed. Each practice session a sacred ritual where she refined every note, every subtle shift in tempo and emotion with painstaking precision, her blindness sharpening her senses to a degree that almost seemed supernatural. Her fingers became extensions of her spirit, her ears attuned to nuances no one else could hear, and her heart beating in rhythm with the melodies that filled her soul. While Victor Lang continued his campaign of derision, whispering doubts to influential critics and casting shadows of skepticism over Amara's presence at the festival, she remained undeterred, buoyed by a quiet but growing circle of supporters, fellow musicians, teachers, and even some audience members who had glimpsed the raw, undeniable beauty of her playing during rehearsals, recognizing that her music was more than notes on a page, but a powerful testament to resilience and passion. Amidst the growing tension, Amara drew strength from the legacy of those who had come before her. Trailblazing black musicians and blind artists who had battled prejudice and shattered expectations, their stories a deep well of inspiration that infused every melody she touched with meaning and defiance, reminding her that her fight was part of a much larger narrative of courage and artistry. Each day, as her fingers danced across the keys, she not only honed her craft, but also wove the threads of history, identity, and hope into her performance, preparing to silence the cynics not with words, but with the pure, transformative power of music itself. The day of the festival dawned with an electric tension that hummed through every corridor of the grand concert hall, its opulent chandeliers casting a warm glow over an audience filled with the world's most discerning critics, music aficionados, and relentless journalists, each seated with pens poised and expectations guarded as they awaited the performances that promised to define the season. First to take the stage was Victor Lang, the renowned pianist whose reputation was as polished as his flawless technique. Yet as he sat before the gleaming grand piano, his playing, while impeccable in precision, revealed an emotional sterility that left the crowd polite but unmoved. The applause he received, polite but hollow, echoing off the marble walls without the warmth of genuine connection. His artistry precise, but lacking the soul that truly touches hearts. Then came Amara Johnson, the blind black pianist whom many had dismissed before she even played, the room murmuring with whispers of doubt and thinly veiled skepticism, eyes watching her every movement with a mix of curiosity and incredulity. Yet as her hands hovered briefly over the keys, a profound stillness fell, the air thick with anticipation. With the first note, Amara wove a tapestry of sound that transcended the mere mechanics of music, each chord a vibrant brushstroke painting her story of struggle, resilience, and unyielding hope. Her fingers moved with a fluid grace that seemed to channel not just the written score, but the deep wells of her life's experiences, the weight of prejudice, the fire of determination, and the unbreakable spirit of a woman who had overcome more than most could imagine. As she played, the room transformed. The skeptics fell silent, critics leaned forward, and the audience was swept into a journey that was as much about the music as it was about the triumph of the human soul, tears welling in eyes that had expected only a technical display, but instead received a powerful narrative of pain and perseverance told through melody. Amara's performance was not just a recital, but a declaration, a challenge to every doubter that greatness can rise from adversity, and that true artistry is born not of privilege, but of passion, heart, and unshakable belief in oneself, leaving the audience breathless, moved beyond words and forever changed by the unforgettable sound of a blind black woman who refused to be silenced. The final notes of Amara's breathtaking performance lingered in the air, hanging like a delicate, shimmering thread, connecting every soul in the packed concert hall, and for a long moment, there was nothing but stunned silence, a collective, breath-held, a sacred pause as the audience absorbed the magnitude of what they had just witnessed, the raw power and profound emotion that transcended music and spoke directly to the human spirit. Then, as if released by an unspoken command, the hall erupted into a thunderous standing ovation that shook the very walls, applause cascading like waves of pure admiration and awe, voices rising in a unified celebration of the blind black woman, who had silenced every doubter and rewritten the narrative of what it meant to be an artist, a fighter, and a visionary. Amidst the roar of acclaim, Victor Lang stood at the sidelines, his face pale and his usual arrogance stripped away, humbled and speechless as he watched the crowd shower Amara with the reverence and respect she so deeply deserved, once his. Target of scorn, now the undeniable star whose talent and courage had shattered his narrow prejudices and forced even him to confront the limits of his own vision. Amara's triumph sent ripples through the music world, her name becoming synonymous with resilience, excellence, and the power of unwavering belief in oneself, despite the barriers of blindness, race, and skepticism. Invitations poured in from concert halls across the globe. Record deals and collaborations blossomed, and most importantly, her story ignited a beacon of hope for countless others who faced adversity, proving that obstacles are not the end, but rather the crucibles where True strength and artistry are forged. Her journey reshaped perceptions, inspiring a movement within the classical music community and beyond, where talent and passion could no longer be judged by superficial standards, but embraced in all its diverse and powerful forms. Amara Johnson's legacy, born from a place of darkness and doubt, illuminated the world, teaching that the greatest music comes from the heart, and that the human spirit, when lifted by courage and determination, can overcome anything, leaving a lasting echo that would inspire generations to come.